story, but unfortunately,
I mean, again, right?
I only find a way of finding
They might, whatever the narrative is, whatever the truth is, at the end.
but my point is, you've got to actually separate signal from noise. You've got to actually separate all of this, rubbish that's out there to actually make better decisions and local decisions. The other angle, though, Edwin, just thinking about it, is it's fascinating to me that governments are selling off land at the moment, land which you could actually potentially invest in housing if you chose to do it. I don't quite understand that part of the puzzle too, because surely if you want to increase supply, you should build more. If you need to build more, you need land to build it on. So what on earth is going on there?
Well, so this is the thing that we were talking about earlier on. That is if you're going to start bringing in and pushing in fear into the property market, and you're going to stop investors from buying new dwellings to house renters, well, then the government needs to take another position other than to start selling the land. I mean, HMAS Penguin in Sydney and Victoria Barracks. There's something like 60 sites, defence sites across Australia that they're going to be selling off, and they'll sell them off very, very cheap, and they're not going to be sold off, for people to build affordable housing. They're going to be sold off to as prime developments, because a lot of these sites sitting surrounded by prime real estate. So there was a couple of other articles also flying around about Sydney, how some of the old warehousing, the old wool sheds around Ultimo and that, they're going to, and the old storage complexes there from that were built in over 120 years ago. They're going to be transformed into small units, and it's going to be a mixed-use development there. But I'd like to see the price tag on a one-bedroom unit there. Again, it's not going to be affordable, because even the people that we're talking about in the report that I watched earlier on today, they were talking about it's going to be very, very costly to maintain the look and the feel of the old sheds. Because that is the only way that they're going to be allowed to convert them from commercial to residential. They've got to keep the look and feel. I mean, but when you start talking about this new fandangle designs and everything, you got to it's all plus. So I would be surprised if you at the end of the day you'd be able to buy something, a one-bedroom apartment there for under $1.5 million, which again, it's not something that first-time buyers or new young families want to move into. So you're talking about the high-end scale. That would be your one-bedroom apartments, and then you start ticking it up to anything that's a bit more, that's got a bit more space. So so all these things that are flying around, you've got to wonder, do they really know what they're doing? And I think that is the question that we need to ask. Do they really know what they're doing? They're certainly spending hundreds of millions of dollars in think tanks, focus groups, committees, but shit, nobody knows what they're doing in any one of those committees that are being paid hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, I think the question is, do they know what they're doing? Is a really interesting and important question, because I have a feeling they don't. This was actually another little angle on it. Councils have now called on the New South Wales government to hit pause on approvals of new data centres until it sets rules to guarantee their power and water usage will not harm local communities and the construction of new housing. So again, you see these conflicting priorities. Do we build data centres? Do we not? Do we invest in housing? Or do we not? Do we sell government land off? Or do we not? And I have to say, I get the sense that there is a series of tactical decisions being taken left, right and centre by different levels of government, federal, state and local governments. And there's no joined up thinking, it seems to me, no joined up thinking at all. And so you end up with this mishmash of weird decisions and stupidities. And meanwhile, of course, as you say, cost of property continues to be a problem. And then, of course, you get these sort of weird articles like this one popped out, beach towns with houses for $700,000. So they're claiming that areas in Victoria, particularly in some of the south coast towns like Eden, for example, or in Queensland, Hervey Bay and Mackay, interesting. Also in this article, though, there was this argument here about some of the floodplain management issues and the fact that now the catchments are being rezoned to put the town into a flood zone in West Gippsland. And of course, New South Wales is hardly affordable. Interest rates, by the way, could also have an impact here. So it's a mess. And I think the problem is, Edwin, people get caught up in these high-level headlines and these high-level news items. And you know, and I know that the only way to actually deal with this is to go local and really look at the detailed situation on the ground, looking at particular property, et cetera, which is why what you do and what I do is so